Today's webinar is entitled Library Support Staff Certification and Introduction. Your presenter is Karen Strady. Karen was the state librarian in Montana from 1996 to 2004. Prior to becoming the Montana State Librarian, Karen worked as a children's librarian, a public library director, and a library consultant for the Idaho State Library. She currently works as a private consultant and is the co-director of ALA's Library Support Staff Certification Program. I'm now happy to introduce Karen Strady.
Thank you very much. It's a delight to be here this afternoon with you all. This is the Introduction to the Library Support Staff Certification Program. It is sponsored by the American Library Association, and it is run by the American Library Association Allied Professional Association. That's quite a mouthful. And it's funded by the Institution of Museum and Library Services. I'm going to show you a slide of the staff members of LSSC. There's Laurel Swader, who is the director of ALA, APA. That's me, Karen Strady. I'm co-director of the program along with Nancy Bolt. And Ian Lashbrook is our research associate and will answer too, along with any of the questions that you might have. And I'll provide contact information at the end of my presentation. Today I'll talk about just who are library support staff, why does the certification program matter. I'll talk about the nuts and bolts of the program, enrollment and requirements, how you are assessed if you're a candidate, and I'll talk to you about new projects that we're undertaking in the next 2 years. First, Library Support Staff Certification is a national, voluntary, ALA-sponsored certification program for library staff. Library support staff, that is. Now, that's very simple, but we need to talk about this in a little more detail. It's national. It's for everyone in the United States. We also have some international candidates, too. It's voluntary. No one, no state, no employer requires their library support staff to be certified through our program. It's voluntary. It is sponsored and sanctioned by the American Library Association, and it's for library support staff. Now, what are library support staff, or what is library support staff? We define, and there are many definitions, but for purposes of our program, we define library support staff is any library employee who works in a position, in a library, of course, that does not require the Master of Library Science degree. Now, that is a very, again, simple explanation of how we define library support staff. And you might tell me, well, that applies to janitors too. But we define our definition a little more by saying that they work in a library functional area. Okay? So how many library support staff are there in the United States? Well, out of the 163,913, and this is from the Census, the Department of Labor data, 69% of all those library employees who work in academic and public libraries are library support staff. So almost 70% of our employees. And what's in a name? How are the library support staff known across the United States? We found at least 40 different types of job titles for library support staff. And you may have one of these titles yourself. Paraprofessional, parapro, library aide, library media assistant, library technician, media aide. Those media ones are usually used in school libraries. Circulation assistant, lots of different names. But for simplicity, we call our program the Library Support Staff Program. Now, a concern for every endeavor is how diverse their workforce are. We see that within the librarians who hold a MLS, 13% of the total are held by people of color. On the other side, those library support staff, again, that work in academic and public libraries, 29% are people of color. We're happy to say that our program, the candidates that are enrolled so far, we're reaching 32% people of color. Library support staff are essential for critical for the well-functioning of libraries. We all know that we depend on other people, especially library support staff, to serve all of our users. People ask me a lot about why they should become certified. Well, we asked library support staff throughout the country in 2008, before the certification program began. And we asked them, first of all, would you like a certification program? And the majority, I think 82%, said yes. And that's a very high percentage of people who want anything. And these are the reasons that they gave for wanting to become certified. The first one, across all library types, was recognition. I want to be recognized for the work that I do. I want to be recognized by my employer, my peers, and by our national association. Second, I want to learn new things. I love to learn. I want to learn all about the library. I want to learn all about different functions in the library. That is, if somebody works in circulation, they want to learn about cataloging, classification, or youth services. Candidates also asked, or they weren't candidates at the time, survey respondents also said they want to provide better service to their users and that they wanted to contribute to library improvement overall. They want to be a part of the team. What reason is not on here? Well, the reason that I see is missing is either promotion or an increase in pay. Now, I believe that was the fifth reason for being certified, but it was not one of the top four. Library support staff that responded to our survey are more interested in recognition, learning, providing better service, and then contributing to library improvement overall. Now, not very much research has been done in the United States about the benefits of certification in libraries, but we have some preliminary results from the state of Minnesota and Maryland. These states require their library directors and also encourage the library support staff to be certified in those states. Now, a survey asked library directors and those people, library support staff that were certified, a number of questions about the benefits of certification. Both directors and library support staff identified that users are better served. That is, they thought the services given by library support staff who are certified were better than before. Library managers said library support staff that are certified, again, have a better understanding of the whole of library service, how every part of the library works together to provide services. Both library support staff and library directors said that they felt that certified library support staff felt more confident about giving service to their users. And both groups thought that certified library support staff had improved their contribution to the library operation and, very importantly, to the success of the library. So this gives us a good preliminary information about the benefits of certification, and I'll talk more about our evaluation efforts in a while. We know that not every library support staff will choose this voluntary certification program. It is really for people who, as my first photo shows, don't really seem to care very much about the job, maybe dialing it in, but for people who want to grow, who want to learn new things, who really look at the library support staff as their lifelong career, and they want to provide better services. Let's see, I lost my train. There we go. What comes out loud and clear, like Aretha Franklin's voice, is that library support staff are hungry for respect. They are hungry for recognition. They want their jobs to be respected by their, again, peers, by their employers, their library boards, their library deans, and nationally. So respect is very important. Now, who's our candidates right now? We have about 188 candidates. They are from, this is a mistake, cross this out, it should be 35 states, okay? So all but 5 of our states are represented. Colorado is the home of most of our candidates, and that's because the Colorado Regional Library Consortium gives enrollment financial assistance to library support staff in Colorado. California, the home of IMPL people, and many of you on the webinar, is the state with the second largest contingent of candidates. And I look and I believe that California has 28 candidates from all over your state. Louisiana is the state with the third largest group of LSSC candidates. And that's because the state of Louisiana participated long ago, 2009, in a pilot project. But as I said before, our candidates are diverse. 71% are white, 11% are Black American, Hispanic 5%, 1% each American Indian and Asian. 11% declined to answer questions about diversity. Okay, questions. I'm going to look in the questions box now, and I don't see anybody saying that they have a question. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the question and answer box, or I believe the chat box. Don't worry about spelling. I could decipher most anybody's spelling, even my own. So just go ahead and write in your questions. We'll have time at the end of the webinar also for a opportunity for me to answer your questions. I'll turn now to the nuts and bolts of the program, that is the details. Well, who's eligible to be a candidate? You must have a high school diploma or a GED. As I said, some of our candidates are from countries outside the United States, and so we look to make sure that they have whatever secondary degree that country offers or requires. Also, to be a candidate, you need 1 year of library experience, and that could be paid or unpaid. Now, that experience could be in a special library, a school library, a college, academic library, or a public library. It doesn't matter. You could have a combination of paid and volunteer experience, or all paid or all volunteer experience. But that 1 year of library experience you must have worked in the last 5 years. That is, we want your library experience to be current. Okay? To my knowledge, we have not turned down anybody to be a candidate. To enroll, all you have to do is to follow that link there, and I'll provide that link at the end of this webinar. The cost is $350, and if you belong to the American Library Association, that cost is $325. As I said before, we have 188 candidate applications, and so far we have 6 certification holders. The program's began at the end of January of 2010. Okay. We receive about 1 to 2 new candidate applications per week. So what are the requirements? What do you have to actually do to be certified? Well, you have to demonstrate achievement of 6 competency sets by either completing approved courses and or submitting portfolios within 4 years. So let's say you register for the program in November 1st of this year. You would have 4 years or until November 1st, help me with the math here, 2015 to complete the program. So you have 4 years, which is, we think, long enough. Now, what is a competency set? Our program has 10 total sets. 3 are required. Every candidate that enrolls in the program has to demonstrate that they have achieved the Foundations of Library Services set, the Technology set, and the Communications and Teamwork set. Okay, no matter where you, if you work in a special school, a public, a academic, library support staff that enroll in the program have to achieve those. Now, we have a number of electives, 7 electives that you could choose from. You have to complete 3 elective sets. These are access services, which include circulation functions in a library, including interlibrary loans, adult reader services, which is pretty self-explanatory, classification and cataloging, an important part of almost every library, collection management, how materials are selected for libraries, how they are, vendor relations, and then discarding materials, too, are included in that set. Reference and information services, supervision and management. We know that many library support staff manage perhaps branches or divisions or departments in larger libraries. And so there's a competency set just for them. And then youth services, which is probably just for public and school libraries, how libraries serve children and teens. So again, you have to take all those required, achieve all those required, and you get three selections from those 7 remaining elective competencies. Now, what is the competency? Well, quite simply, a competency is a statement of a skill or ability. That's how we define it. Here's some examples under the collection management set. Library support staff will know the functionality of integrated library systems. Library support staff will know the general purpose of collection management in libraries. And number 3, the basic principles of selecting and discarding of all types of library materials. These are 3 in this set, and I think the set has about 18 competency statements in it. So again, these are only 3 of those statements. Let's see. Now, I talked about before approved classes or portfolios. These are 2 different ways, 2 different paths that a candidate could take to demonstrate their achievement of those competency sets. Now, how do you choose whether to submit a portfolio or complete an approved course? Well, this is some tips. If you have no background, no experience, no education in a set, then you should probably look at taking an approved course. To use myself as an example, my education in classification and cataloging is 30 years ago. I would need to take a course to achieve those competencies. If you have no interest in self-directed learning, and again, using myself as an example, I am not a very good self-directed learner. I need deadlines, generally set by others. I would like an instructor and a list of assignments and date due and that kind of structured learning environment. Now, A downside for many people for taking improved courses is it costs additional. We do not design these courses. We do not offer these courses. We broker courses, that is, make agreements with other colleges or programs or individuals to offer the courses. And those providers set the cost. Now, portfolios, do you have a lot of background, say, in cataloging? Have you worked in the cataloging department for a number of years, or have you had a lot of education? Do you have a degree from a library technical college, and did that degree provide you with lots of education on cataloging, or have you taken a workshop? Then you probably know enough to write a portfolio. Do you like independent learning? Do you not need a structured environment? Does the feedback of an instructor not mean that much to you? And an upside on the portfolio is there is no additional cost. You could go ahead and write the portfolios on your own time, submit them, and there's no additional cost. Our approved courses must meet our requirements. Providers, and you have many in California, which I'll go over in a minute. For example, the Palomar Community College is one of our course providers. Palomar made a course application to us, and we reviewed that course in detail to make sure it covered all the competencies in a set. Then we approved it. As I said before, the providers set the cost of these courses, not LSSC. These courses are online, in person, or a combination. So when you look at our catalog, you'll be able to find out, or you'll click a link to see if they're online, in person, or if they're a hybrid. Now, the course fees average $400 a course. The range in courses are somewhere between $125, and one of our approved courses costs almost $1,000. So you can see that there's a wide range. Info People is one of our course providers, we're proud to say. And we have 5 course providers in California: Fresno College, as I said before, Palomar College, Long Beach City College, Pasadena City College, and Cuesta College is a new course provider. Most of our providers are community college. We have some universities through their continuing education programs. Individual consultants offer courses for us, and library services networks like Amigos, you might be familiar with them, and the LEAD program out of the North Texas University, I believe, offers courses. We have about 77 courses available for our candidates. Now, what's a portfolio? I like to look at a portfolio as kind of a scrapbook. And if you do scrapbooking, you know that you put your best photo, your best documents, your best efforts in a scrapbook. And this is what a portfolio is. It's a selective collection of work that shows that you have the knowledge and skills in a competency set. The work required to develop a portfolio is equivalent to the assignments and the readings that you would do in a course. You document that you have the knowledge and skills, and you could use your own work, your own ideas, or you could answer a PDF. Now, what in the heck is a PDF? A PDF is a portfolio development suggestion. And we have gone through each of those competencies and have made 2 to 4 suggestions for candidates for each of those competencies. And a portfolio development suggestion is really an activity or an assignment that you could do to show the evaluators that you have achieved, that you understand that particular competency. Now, do you have to complete all of the PDSs under each competency? No way. That would really be beyond the call of duty for any candidate. You have to complete at least one. So you could choose amongst the PDSs if you're doing portfolios. Here's a sample portfolio development suggestion. Again, the competency statement is a general purpose of collection management in libraries. And our suggestion for the candidate who is writing a portfolio is collect sample policies on collection management for at least 3 different libraries of varying types and sizes. So you would look possibly at a school library, a public library, and say a college library. And you would compare and contrast those policies. And then you would give a judgment, which ones do you think are best? And you would have to tell us why you think that, to defend your position, okay? So you can see that this really sounds like a classroom assignment, even if you haven't been in the classroom for a long time. You collect things, you use your intellect to compare and contrast, and then you make an evaluative judgment, okay? So if you do that, you would be done with 1 competency in a set. Now, what happens when you're done with your portfolio? Well, your portfolio is evaluated. And again, we have trained evaluators just for our program who are waiting to evaluate your portfolios. 2 evaluators evaluate or review each portfolio. Now, if they say that you met 70% of the competencies, then you, I don't like to use the word pass, but you have completed that competency set. You have no more work to do. If you partially meet some competencies, then we'll ask you for more information. Now, we just don't say, provide us more information. We will give you specific, detailed information on what you need to provide us. We won't leave you in the lurch, wondering what we want. Now, if you submit partially met information and it doesn't still meet the mark, then we'll suggest that you take a course. We don't want you to waste any more time on this competency set. We'll suggest that you take a course. And this has never happened yet, and we'll work with you as much as humanly possible to have your portfolio evaluation turn out the way you want it to. Now, there may be library managers on the line, and we know that times are very tough, and we know that you might not be able to help your library support staff employee with a registration fee or with course costs. But we have some suggestions for you that may help your library support staff succeed in our certification program. The first one is to offer recognition. We saw that in our survey that this is the main reason library support staff want to be certified, is that they want recognition. Now, recognition can come in many, many ways, and I'm sure you do this already in your libraries to recognize employee achievement. Telling other people that your employee is enrolled in this program, telling your friends group, telling your library board if you're a public library, telling the academic dean, making sure that other staff members know about the library support staff who's enrolled in this program. Now, you could also help with registration fees and course fees. As I said, I know that times are very, very tough and that this might not be an option. Maybe the friends would help after their annual book sale or auction or whatever. Maybe that they could help subsidize, not pay all of these costs, but help in that way. Again, you could give time off. If a employee of yours is involved with a course to meet these requirements, maybe you could give an hour off during the week to work on course assignments. Maybe you could give an hour off to an employee to complete their portfolio. Here's more support ideas. Maybe you could help with assignments. A lot of the portfolio development suggestions say to the candidate to interview a librarian, to ask him or her professional opinion about a library issue or a library function area. Volunteer to help with those assignments. What you could also do is volunteer to read the portfolios, because we all know that reviewing, proofreading is great when you share it with lots of different people. As I said, you could inform the higher-ups, whatever they are in your particular situation. Maybe in a school, you could talk to the principal. Maybe you could go as far as talking to the school board about your employees' registration and achievements in this program. When one of your employees, as a candidate, completes a competency set, it would be a great time for a celebration. Recognize their step-by-step accomplishments as they go through our program. And I know my last suggestion might not work if you're in a union shop or if you have other labor agreements, but perhaps you could add responsibilities as skills and knowledge increase. We hear from a lot of our candidates that they are looking for more responsibilities, and that they will take it as a good thing if these are added to their jobs. Now, we understand that is certainly within the confines of a contract when you have them, job descriptions and what have you. Just a suggestion. We have recognition agreements with library technician programs across the United States. These programs are generally located in community colleges, and these agreements mean that graduates of these programs could enroll or register in the LSSC program and not submit portfolios, not complete other courses because they have graduated. We review these colleges' curriculum to make sure they cover all those competency sets, and all the graduates have to take those courses that cover those competencies. And right now we have 3 agreements from colleges in Illinois, 1 agreement in California with a Palomar College, and 1 agreement in Indiana, the Ivy Tech College. So that means if you're a Palomar College graduate in the library technician program, within the last 2 years, you can enroll in the LSSCP and not have to do those portfolios or take any more courses, that you will just receive the certification. We're looking in process. I'm working with the Pasadena City College, as I said before, the Cuesta College in California, Spokane Falls Community College in Washington, Highline Community College, again in Washington State, and the Belmont Technical College in Ohio to forge these agreements. And so we're looking to create these partnerships with library technical assistance schools. We're also looking to build candidate support. We are very interested in having library support staff register for our program. We are also equally interested in giving the candidates support and having their progress throughout our program be a positive, creative, and a educational time. We offer 3 webinar trainings a month, 2 specifically for candidates and 1 similar to the one I'm doing now to inform, hopefully, a wide swath of library workers about the program. We will offer portfolio readers if a candidate is not quite sure if his or her portfolio is ready to be sent to evaluation. We'll read it in a non-evaluative type of framework and offer constructive feedback on that for the candidate. And we'd really like to start cohort groups, like for folks that are all writing portfolios, say in technology. We would like to start mini groups for them, candidates, to support each other And we're always looking for more ways to make sure that our candidates are getting through the program and getting what they need. The next steps, the evaluation part, is I referred to before too, and I talked about the evaluations done in the states of Minnesota and Maryland. We're going to take this nationally now to see if certification programs really do make a difference in user service in those individual library support staff and in library services overall. So we're very excited about the evaluation steps too, because we do believe that we'll see improvements in library service by certification endeavors. And finally, this is a quote from Michael Stanlin. He is a library support staff worker in Louisiana, and he's a candidate. I must say that we never use a candidate's name or anything that's any written material or quotes for them without their permission. So I do have permission from Michael to use this, but I just love this quote. And I think it answers the question why library support staff certification. Michael said, library support staff have a great passion for libraries, for what they are and for what they stand for. I feel my participation in LSSC will allow me to learn new methods, procedures, and techniques to share my love for the library with others and keep a library current and a needed part of the community as a whole. So I think that's a wonderful encapsulation of why most of our candidates have enrolled in the program and about their desires to improve, I guess. I'll look now if we have any questions. Anna Marie Olson writes, hello, my name is Anna Marie. We have just logged on. Will we be able to catch the beginning of the webinar? I believe that, Chuck, the webinar is archived, and you answered this question already. Yes, it is archived. For the California colleges, did you mean Fresno City Community College or Fresno State University? Thank you for that question and the opportunity to clarify that. Fresno State University, not Fresno City Community College. Okay, are there any other questions? If you have questions, just write them in the Q&A. And I'm looking at chat, too, to make sure that there's no chat ones here. And I can't see one. Oh. Does this certificate program can apply for another type of employment? No, I don't think so. As you might have missed the statement I said at the beginning, that this certification is not required by any state, by any employer that I'm aware of, and not nationally. And it would not apply to another type of employment. That's an interesting idea, though, because some of the technology competencies would be good in any field, of course. And, of course, those human interpersonal skills that are reflected in the communication and teamwork are good in any field, too. I have a question. Will my employer accept the certification? Some employers recognize the certification, but it varies by employer by employer. One of our big tasks is to get employers on board. We would really like to see them require, I guess, or advertise positions that say LSSC, not maybe required, but preferred, to make it a standard of excellence. Are there any plans to add the City College of San Francisco's Library Tech Certification degree holders to the pre-approved LSSC list? Yes, there is. This City College of San Francisco has applied to be one of our partners, and we plan to work with them over the next 9 months, and I'm not sure when they will take effect because we just agreed to work with him last week, as a matter of fact. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm not sure when we're going to look at their curriculum, but it'll be in the next 9 months. And then, you know, there's quite a few process hoops to jump through before we forge an agreement. But I'm looking forward to that, and we'll make it happen as soon as we can. So yes, the City College of San Francisco is going to be a partner, I would say. I'm really happy about that. More information, our website that you'll find just probably more than you want to know about the program is available at that website. The program email is lssc@ala.org, very easy to remember, and that goes to all of us at LSSC. My personal email is kstrege@msn.com, and then Nancy, as you can see on the screen in front of you, and Ian also too. We try to respond to messages within 24 hours and try to, of course, give great service. How about the Portland Community College Oregon Library Media certification program, a potential partner? Portland Community College did not apply to be a project partner this time. I have spoke to Donna Reed, I believe her name is, and they are undergoing some kind of transformation or transition with their curriculum, and they plan to be involved, but not at this particular time. I would love to have PCC come in you know, when they're done making their transition, and I could certainly understand why they wouldn't want to do it when they're looking at their curriculum overall. And so we'll continue to remain actively seeking that partnership with Portland Community College, but not right now. Somebody asked how many approximate hours per competencies. That's really difficult to say. If you're writing a portfolio and you have lots of background in the competency set, it'll go much, much faster for you than someone like me trying to write a portfolio in a classification and cataloging. That would take me a long, long time because I would have to do a lot of independent reading. The approximate hours for courses, again, vary, but you could be assured that when you take one of our approved classes that you will have full coverage of those competency areas. Some of the community college courses are up to anywhere from 3 to 5 semester hours of work. Okay, and if you're from California, I know that the tuition for you is much lower than out of state, so that's a bonus having so many, yes, community colleges from California involved. Any more questions? I don't see any right now. One of the things I forgot to ask info people is how to end the webinar. Isn't that interesting? Maybe we could just go on and on here forever, but I bet that they could do that. Before we end our webinar, yes. There's another question.
We have one more question, Karen, I see.
Okay, great. Any interest from Maine libraries? Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know if we have any candidates from Maine, or I don't know about the LTA programs in Maine. So I'll take a look at that and see if I can encourage some interest in Maine too. Great.
We have one question from Amanda in text chat.
Okay. And how can I see that? Yeah, under chat?
She says, yeah, if you scroll down, she says, do I understand this correctly? If you enroll in one of the pre-approved schools' library tech programs and graduate from it, all you need to do is pay the $350 for the certification?
Yes, you, of course, would have to pay the fees, the tuition to your library tech program. But after you graduate, you would only have to pay the $350 for the certification program. I must tell you, too, something that's very exciting. We are offering subsidies for enrollment in the certification program that we call RAAs, or Registration Assistance Awards. You could find more information about the Registration Assistance Awards by going to that website. Emailing us is also a good way to find out about those. Those will offer you $175 off, or a half off that registration fee. Now, those are only being made available, and there's only a certain amount available, of course, until November 15th. But you have almost three or 4 weeks to look into that program and to make application. That program is being run by American Library Association's Roundtable for Library Support Staff, and that is called LCERT. So you could also Google LCERT and find out information about the Registration Assistance Awards, or RAAs. And I encourage you to do so if you're thinking about enrolling in the program, if you believe that you could do so within the next 2 months, because one of the stipulations of those awards is that you have to enroll within the next 2 months and then start your progress through the program. So that's very satisfying that we're able to offer some assistance to candidates, because we know that most candidates work in jobs that you know, are not the best paid sometimes, may I say. Okay, I don't see any more.
Yeah, it looks like that's about all the questions. Do you see one, Karen?
No, I don't. But before we end, I would like to thank you for your attention. Please do not hesitate to email us with any questions. We're really here to help you. And thanks again. I hope you all have a great day.